Hello, spiritual dieter or dieting spirit or whatever you are. Uh, yeah, ever heard about those spiritual diets that everybody's talking about? How do I eat for my spirit? How? What do I eat for my spirituality? How do I diet for consciousness? How do I consciously diet? Oh my god, like my hands literally spinning with this nonsense. There's so much kind of ism out there, like vegetarianism, veganism, anything, like anything with the ism, guys. So today, I want to shine some light on the spiritual dieting and all the diets that are out there. I just want to open up this topic of diets. So, keep watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like it, if you learned something new. Let's go. For that, of course, we're gonna go back to the basics. Okay, what is diet and what is spirituality? Can your diet help your spirituality? First, of course, you need to understand what is spirituality, because there's so many definitions of that. It's always been confused with religion also. So, in essence, you have to clarify first what is spirituality. And of course, at the highest levels of spirituality, all it is just it's a knowledge of yourself. It's a self-knowledge. It's the knowledge of your nature. So, what does that have to do with dieting and your body? If you understand your nature, you understand that you are not the body. So there's no question of diet, right? But we're here to talk about actual food today. So we're already considering the fact that majority of people don't understand what spirituality is. And they are in the process of discovering this very idea of spirituality, understand this idea that spirituality is something completely different than what they are thinking of it right now in their journey. And whatever they're trying right now, like all this type of ism and all types of diets and all types of changes, all types of experiences that people are trying on their journeys, they're basically leading in the same direction, and none of them are right. None of them are correct, and all of them are correct at the same time. How's that possible? It's a paradox, right? So let's clear it up a little bit. Okay, first of all, what I want to talk about is I'm gonna let this bird finish. He's got more important things to tell you. Honestly, listen to birds more. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody. Birds will tell you more. Anyways, what I'm here to tell you is the diet. Let's talk about definition of the diet first, of course. So, diet is basically a food regime of sorts that you need to adhere to in order to accomplish a certain goal of yours. So it's basically based on the idea that food affects you in a different way, and then you need to eat certain types of food to achieve certain types of results. It's really basic, right? So what is a spiritual diet? Why is it so different from any other diet for, I don't know, for gaining muscles, or diet for losing weight, or diet for, I don't know, for all kind of weird stuff? I'm here to explain that there's no such thing as spiritual diet. There's such thing as food density. You ever heard about the term grounding? Grounding is an idea that certain things affect you in a very dense way. By dense, I mean they putting you down in a way. Ever noticed like certain environments put you in this state of like almost fear, nervousness, alertness, and like real presence in the moment right here? Like you get right into your body, like you're really conscious of what's going on, you're really aware, you're really cautious kind of, and you're really present at the same time right here. It means you're dense. The opposite of that would be something that those times when you're like flying in the clouds, for example. You're flying, you're dreaming somewhere, you're not even aware of your body, you lose the total sense of your surroundings. It's a complete opposite of that, right? So for many people, in order to stop doing that, spending too much time in their thoughts, in their dreams, in their imagination, and to come back to reality a little bit, they need to ground themselves. And grounding is basically happening in many different ways. There's environmental grounding, and of course there's grounding with food. There's grounding with music, there's grounding with colors, with emotions, there's so many ways of grounding yourself. So since we're talking about food today, let's talk about grounding with food. How can you ground yourself with food? First of all, in order to understand this idea, you need to understand that there are certain kind of foods that influence you in a very different way. Just like the environment, just like music, just like anything else in life, everything has a certain kind of effect on you. Okay? So the food has a certain effect on you. Do you notice how when you eat a hamburger, really dense, full hamburger, you feel satisfied, you feel full, you feel really dense, like you're in your body, you feel the weight of this, you're feeling like you are this body, you're more ego, you're more this person, you are more in the moment, you're more present, and you're enjoying this burger or something. It has a certain effect of it. And you ever notice, I don't know how many of you, if you ever been on juicing diets and something lighter, for example, or sometimes even maybe you did some fasting, you understand that the sensation of your body, how you feel generally during that diet, is completely different. So food affects you, affects your state, affects how you feel your body. Are you more mental? Are you more in your body? Are you more present? Are you more distant and more in your imagination? So what I want you to understand is, it's all it is to it. It's just an effect. It's just an effect that different food has on you. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So what is a spiritual diet, and why is it, how to look at it from the point of view of spirituality? Look at it this way. There's physicality and then spirituality, right? Mostly when people talk about spirituality, they're talking about something bigger than themselves. And by themselves, majority of people, of course, during their journey, they talk about their body. They call that personality, this person, I am, like this thing. Right here, they call it me. Because they didn't really understand the point of spirituality yet. So what they do is, they look at it from the point of view of, if this is me, then spirituality is something that's out there, something lighter, something invisible, something light, and it's more of like God and heaven and something like that. So they kind of tend to oppose those two things. So in thinking in this way, they start utilizing certain foods, and they kind of classify them. Okay, this is more dense, this is for the body, and this is more light, like juice, for example, or fruit, so it is for my spirit. It's just a really logical kind of explanation. It doesn't have any science behind it, nothing to it whatsoever, and I'll explain why. But that's all it is to it. So when people think in terms of spiritual diet, they try to think of types of food that actually is a parrot. Wow, there's like 15 of them. So when people think about spiritual diet, they kind of separate those denser foods from lighter foods, and they say, okay, so if you want to be spiritual, you need to eat lighter foods. So there's like a whole list that I've seen some videos on the internet that they even give you like a list. Okay, don't eat this, eat that, and that's it. And you're gonna be spiritual. You're gonna get enlightened. Come on, guys, really? By eating? No. let me tell you what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is it's gonna happen the same people, the same thing that happens to all people who go through the stages, and that's all they are. They're stages of your understanding. Nothing to do with your body, nothing to do with your diet, nothing to do with spirituality. It's just the stages of your understanding that you go through on your journey to understanding yourself, of discovering who you are, discovering your nature. And yes, diet actually helps. Why? Why does it help? Simply because it changes something. It gives you a different perspective. It puts you in a different vibrational state. It puts you in a different sense of your body, or it puts you in a different mental state. If you're constantly eating meat, like we were raised, like I was raised like a meat eater, like it's a 3 times a day it has to be meat, like a little bit of bacon in the morning, a nice juicy steak in the evening, something with meat, for lunch. So it's a common natural thing, like every single day. And then for me it was just an idea, like I have to get meat. Like, what do you mean, like I'm a meat eater, like I have to get meat? So that's all I knew. So imagine, to my surprise, I'm gonna give you my example, my personal example. When I stopped eating meat completely, and it was a conscious decision. I didn't try to be changing my diet. It was just an experiment for me, because I've read, just like you probably, I've read somewhere that quitting meat and going to a lighter diet will actually help me expand my consciousness. And at the time, that was my goal. I was all about consciousness, about understanding myself, about yoga and lighter diets, exercising, and thinking differently. So I said, hey, why not? So I've tried that diet, and imagine, to my surprise, what happened was I actually, for the first time in my life, for the first time in like 20 some years, I let myself feel different in the body. My body started operating differently. Like, I always had meat. I always ate meat, and then I suddenly stopped. And I've experienced something different. Like, I experienced lightness. I experienced inflow of creativity, inflow of energy of different kind. Let's put it this way. And it wasn't a physical energy. Physically, I was less in tune with my body, but at the same time, it helped me create something new. It helped me understand certain things that I was not able to understand before. So it gave me a different state of being. Like, I was vibrating literally in a different way, and I really liked it for a while. And that's why I kept experimenting with this stuff, and I actually stopped eating meat completely for, I don't know, a good amount of years, 4 or 5 years. I completely didn't eat any meat, and my diet went in a completely different direction. I actually started experimenting with different diets also, like veganism and fruitarianism and juicing and even sun eating and breatharianism. All of those things I've tried. And I gotta tell you, all they do is just, all these stages, they just lead you to a different understanding. They help you understand how certain things affect you. And then they help you understand how you affect certain things. And how you do that? By thinking in a different way. So, as a last point that I want to make basically in this video, I want to explain that food does not affect you. You affect the food and let it affect you. Did you understand what I'm saying? You affect the food first by assigning a certain idea, a certain meaning. So you're in essence charging a food with certain ideas. You're putting your thoughts into it. You're creating a food, and then you feel it with a certain vibration, with a certain purpose, a certain intention of what that food will do to you. So in essence, you are eating your own thoughts. That's all it is to this. Like, if you want to play a nutrition game, for example, if you want to do this whole carbs and counting calories and all that stuff, it's all cool. play that game. If that's resonating with you at your stage of development, if you think that sounds like a good idea to do that, by all means, knock yourself out. Do that. Count all your calories until you get bored and tired out of it. Like, what's gonna happen? All you gotta do is just get to a different stage. That's gonna change something because you believe in it. It will definitely change something. Ever seen those people, like, why there's so many people on the internet and they're all advocating different diets? Like, one of them says, no, I need to eat like this, and veganism is the way to go, that's the only way. Another ones are saying, no, you can be vegetarian, and the other one's like, no, you need to be only like on juices, like if you want to really reach the enlightenment, you need to do this. Come on, they're all right at their stage of development. That's all it is, because they believe in this stuff. And notice how much judgment they have. Mostly those people that advocate in their diet, normally they have a lot of judgment for any other type of diet. And that is exactly what's keeping them to go to the next stage. And that's what these diets are for. They're actually basically trying to show you how they're all just different, just an idea. Every single diet is just an idea. So, to wrap this thing up, again, 1. Foods have density. Learn to balance your diet. Balanced diet is the correct diet. Start listening to your body. See how certain foods affect you, because you are unique. Every single person is unique, and nobody else's diet will fit you, I promise you. None of those diets will fit you. Your diet will be the diet that you will resonate to and customize for yourself. That's the only diet that will actually produce great results for you. The best diet is the diet that you believe in. It's purely based on your mind. It's purely on belief. If you believe in it, you will get great results until you grow up and until you want to change that diet to something next, whatever comes next for you. And it can be in any sequence that you like. Up to you. Absolutely up to you. So, dense foods, they affect you in a certain way. If you feel really lightheaded, if you feel out there, if you want to ground yourself, use food, use your environment, doesn't matter. But if you choose to eat food, there's a good mechanism. I'm gonna introduce a really simple concept for you. There are several layers of dieting for human beings. And you're going to be surprised maybe, but I'm going to tell you, and then you can experiment with this and just find out for yourself if it's the truth or not. Like, I'm a total believer because personally I went through all this stuff and I understand how it works. So this is kind of my offer to you. There's levels of dieting in general, in density-wise. So the first food that we normally eat as humans is prana. Prana is just life force energy. It is what we are in essence. There's nothing else. Life just flows through us. We are prana. We are this life force energy. We don't need to eat. We don't need to drink. We don't need none of that physical substance to nurture our bodies. None of that. Our bodies are fully capable of producing all that stuff. But we are raised in a different society, different environment, basically, where you need different kinds of food to sustain you in those dense vibrations. And so the next level down from that type of diet would be... We'll wait. The second level down from that light original human diet is plant-based diet. And what does that mean? Any kind of fruits, vegetables, whatever, plants, right? Like, should I explain even further? It's simple. So anything plants, it's a second level. Why? Because plants take that pure energy like we humans do. They take that and then recycle and they grow, and we eat plants. So it's like a second grade food for us, basically. Think about it as a second grade food. Third grade would be animal kingdom and animal products that are in different stages. First, there's two different levels of animal food. The third level here basically is connected with things like eggs, milk, and certain types of like poultry and fish, and the meat of lower consciousness level animals. Let's put it this way: somebody who is not sentient, somebody who's mostly eating plants themselves. So you see the letter here: plants eating the sun energy, and then somebody eats those plants, and then we eat their products, their milk or eggs or something, or them. And that's the third level. And if you want to go even more into density, into dense food, then we're talking about carnivores, and we're talking about the meat of the animals that are actually sentient, that are actually conscious, that are actually thinking. So animals like cows and pigs and I don't know, dolphins, horses, you name it. Some people eat dogs, whatever floats your boat. But the idea is, you can eat whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You can eat bricks, for Christ's sakes, if you want to. And the only thing is, how is it going to affect you? What kind of intention are you putting in that food? What is it going to do for you? Majority of us are raised in such a system that, hey, we need meat because we need protein, la la la. So you have that explanation in your head. So you have to justify your existence by eating a lot of meat. But if you start opening up, loosen up your ideas about these things a little bit, and that's the point of this video, just loosen it up a little bit. Try to understand that you are creating your diet. Try to experiment with different foods, see their effects on you, and find the balance point between too much out there, too much mental, and too much being the body. You're not the body, you're not the mind. But you need to learn to balance these things. And one of the things that you can do is learn how things affect you, particularly food. And use that food wisely. Use it to your benefit. Observe how sometimes on certain emotions you feel like eating. Emotional eating, they call it. Sounds familiar? Cakes, a lot of sugar. Why? Because you want to feel some kind of hole in yourself. With food, with environment, with if you don't have any food, maybe you have a friend who's going to come and comfort you. He's going to provide that support, that grounding support for you. So, to wrap it up, understand that there's no such thing as spiritual diet. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as dieting for your spirit. Spirit is everything. Everything is already here. Spirit doesn't need any diet. Okay? The only thing that needs a diet is your body. To properly maintain your body in certain conditions. Okay? And those conditions may vary from emotional conditions, environmental conditions. When it's cold, you obviously need to eat warmer food, etc., etc., etc. So just think about those things, understand them, and experiment a little bit. Because one thing is what I tell you, but another thing is, of course, to try it yourself and understand how it works. Understand what kind of effects things have on you. One more thing I want to mention, because people ask me about alcohol. They've seen so many spiritual people first talking about alcohol in a negative way. Alcohol, smoking cigars, and other bad habits. Okay, you gotta understand, nothing in this life is essentially bad or negative. It only has its effects. Like I said earlier, there are only effects that certain things have on you. So, alcohol, for example, is a depressant. it is a substance that will affect your body and lower your vibration dramatically. It's all it does. It's not good, it's not bad. It's just what it is. Do you want to be in that state? Do you understand how it affects you? Do you understand that alcohol puts you down and puts you in a state of like sort of like depressive state? If you like that state, by all means, knock yourself out. But make sure you're not doing it all the time, because your body gets used to it and you start thinking that this is your life. Your life is depressing. Whereas just, in essence, it's just a consequence of alcohol all the time, and you never get out of this loop. So you need to understand the effects of it, and don't ever use anything too much. Too much of anything, even if it's like super great, it's not good for you. It's not good for your body. Life is meant to change all the time. Life is a flow of all the consequences of everything. It's just like a big whirl of things, okay? So if you're trying to put yourself in only a certain diet, I only eat this and I never eat that, you will basically put yourself in a situation where it's like a rubber band effect. You know, you start stretching it and stretching it and stretching it. The more you put the willpower into it, the more you stretch it. And a lot of people tell me, "Oh, I snapped again, and I went to eating sugar, and I went back to eating that or eating this, or I went back to smoking, or I went back to drinking." Why? Because they're pushing it too much. If you want to get rid of any habit, you need to understand it. You need to understand why you're doing it, why you even have that habit. But that's another topic, of course. So what I want you to understand as part of negative habits like alcohol and all those things, they're not essentially negative. You can do all of that stuff even while being the most enlightened person. In fact, look up Nisargadatta Maharaj, for example. The dude was like really enlightened. He totally understood who he is. He has been a teacher for many years. He'd been chain smoking all his life, chain smoking. Okay, so it's not essentially bad. Nothing is negative. You just need to understand the consequences, the effects on you, on your body, on your state, and that's it. It doesn't have anything to do with spirituality whatsoever. So that's alcohol for you, and that's pretty much spiritual dieting for you. So good luck to you, spiritual dieter. Don't eat too much spirit. Too much is not good for you, even if it's spirit. So make sure you subscribe, hit that button there, likes or whatever, comments. Always glad to discuss. Please hit me up. Peace. Have a nice week.